Pastor Mark Werner from Emanuel Lutheran Church in Elmer, New Jersey, coming to you to talk about a book entitled Sexuality Mentality, Creating a Culture of Biblical Integrity, written by Heather Ruesch. In this book, Ruesch tackles the important topic of sexuality. She starts with a reminder that sexuality is a good gift from God, God who creates life, who has given us the gift of family, where sexual intimacy has its proper place. The vocation of parenthood, mothers and fathers need to be forthright in speaking the truth to their children. This is especially critical in today's world, much more so now, where we are bombarded with lies and propaganda that the devil uses to deceive and to destroy. While we are bombarded with a worldview of sexuality that teaches nearly any consensual relationship is acceptable, there are significant physical consequences to casual sex and any sexual encounter outside of marriage. Ruesch outlines those dangers using factual data from the Centers for Disease Control. Quote, waiting for marriage and remaining monogamous in marriage is the safest, healthiest way for us to enjoy all the good gifts that sex has to offer, end quote. As I was reading through this book, one of the things that struck me was the role in which the church has in speaking about sexuality. Now, many pastors have been worn down and, quite frankly, are tired of discussing sexuality on the floor of synod assemblies or in gatherings with other pastors, particularly as it was concerning the questions around same-sex marriage and the whole LGBTQ agenda. For all the fatigue and talk in those settings, the sad reality is that the church has been too silent in speaking the truth in love, particularly with our teenagers. Our identity is not chiefly in our sexuality. As baptized children of God, our identity is in Jesus Christ, who has died and redeemed us from the most painful reality of our sins. I wholeheartedly agree with Ruesch, where she writes, the best approach is always a proactive one. Teaching, instructing, and informing our children ahead of time is always a better strategy than trying to catch up and correct it after the fact, end quote. Here we have the opportunity to lift up the virtues of modesty, of healthy relationships among friends that is not dependent upon engaging in sexual behavior, that our bodies indeed are a gift from God, a temple of God, if you will, as described in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. One of the questions that lingers throughout the book and is explicitly dealt with toward the end is the issue of love. Ruesch points out that true love is not a selfish one. She writes, quote, true love is sacrificial above all things. It puts the other person first and lays down its life for its loved ones. Friends, that is exactly what Jesus Christ has done for us. He laid down his life to save and redeem us from our sin. No matter how grave that sin may haunt or linger in our past, it is Jesus who forgives us our sins, who has cleansed us from all unrighteousness, who has cleansed us from our selfishness, including those acts and those things that we have done in our past for our own self-gratification. This book is a must-read for parents. I also recommend that this book be utilized by congregations where youth from 10 years of age and older can have a dialogue with their peers and have honest, forthright conversations with their parents and pastors in a setting that upholds God's design for healthy relationships that start with dating and one day lead to finding that person whom God already knows has been chosen to be your husband or your wife. God bless you, friends.